están ya acá. Vamos a dar inicio, aunque sabemos que hay desafíos con la lluvia. Pero quiero contarles qué cosas están sucediendo alrededor de estos temas de emprendimiento que esperamos compartir pronto con ustedes. Como es bien sabido, la facultad es el representante, por llamarlo así, de un estudio que se hace sobre emprendimiento a nivel mundial. Más o menos 90% del PIB mundial se representa en este estudio y nosotros hacemos el capítulo para Guatemala. Esto ha sido un proceso interesante, es el monitor de emprendimiento global y el siguiente First Tuesday hemos decidido dedicarlo a compartir con ustedes estos datos y esta información pues que venimos investigando desde hace ya más de 6 años. Y bueno, siempre las noticias son halagadoras en el sentido que nos muestra una foto de los guatemaltecos luchadores, una foto de los guatemaltecos que día a día se esfuerzan en forma valiente para que a pesar de un entorno difícil en el cual nos encontramos, pues se conviertan en héroes de sus propios esfuerzos emprendedores. Y la verdad es que uno nota esto en el estudio, especialmente cuando lo comparamos con otros países. Así que muchas cosas están pasando sobre el tema de emprendimiento y de hecho de alguna manera voy a contar después cómo tuvimos ocasión de conocer a la persona que es el speaker principal del día de hoy, que tiene mucho que ver con este propósito y este compromiso que tenemos como universidad de potenciar la capacidad que tienen los guatemaltecos para emprender intensamente y poder ayudar de diferentes maneras a mover esas iniciativas emprendedoras a diferentes instancias. Así que para cumplir con la tradición, vamos a arrancar nuestro First Tuesday de este mes de septiembre, dándoles unos minutos para que puedan presentarse con las personas que tienen al lado y las personas que tienen detrás. Y adelante, ¿verdad? El propósito de esto es siempre conocer gente nueva aquí en First Tuesday, así que gracias por acompañarnos. Damos inicio a estos minutos en donde hay oportunidad para conocer a las personas que tenemos cerca. Gracias.
I'm just gonna see if you mute the microphone.
Yeah.
Ah, era usted la que tenía que ser.
Bueno, se nos acabó el tiempo. Bueno, a continuación tenemos 3 emprendedores que nos presentarán sus pitches de negocios. Primero tenemos el gusto de recibir a María Eugenia Cruz con el proyecto La Biblioteca de María. Bienvenida, María Eugenia.
Leer nos abre la mente. En Guatemala, 2 de cada escuela tienen libros de texto. En el 2013 habían 335 bibliotecas, la mayoría privadas y ubicadas aquí en la ciudad capital. Los guatemaltecos leemos menos de un libro al año y solo el 1% de los guatemaltecos leemos por placer. Si no leemos, tenemos que esperar a que alguien nos cuente qué está pasando. Así, con esta reflexión, nació la Biblioteca de María. Yo, como guatemalteca y educadora, sabía que tenía que hacer algo y me puse a trabajar. Este es un proyecto que estamos poniendo bibliotecas en lugares estratégicos donde la gente pueda llegar a leer sin ningún costo. Y los libros son donados. Empezamos a recibir donaciones de amigos con contactos y iniciamos la página de Facebook. De acuerdo a las donaciones de libros, fue que fuimos segmentando a quienes iban dirigidos. Los primeros libros que recibimos fue de motivación, liderazgo, luego nos llegaron libros de textos, enciclopedias. Actualmente tenemos 4 ubicaciones. La primera, estamos en Impa Joven, Antigua, Guatemala. La segunda, en Pepita Labs, Cayalá. Y ahí tenemos libros de liderazgo, negocios, marketing, motivación. En Wondercats, Carretera El Salvador, en Escala. Y ahí tenemos libros para mujeres y para niños. Y como empezamos a recibir enciclopedias, diccionarios, libros de texto, localizamos una escuela en Quetzaltenango, donde tenían necesidad y colocamos una biblioteca. Para poder construir las libreras necesitábamos dinero. Conseguimos 2 empresas que nos donaron económicamente a cambio de publicidad en las libreras. Naturalísimo y Ecofiltro han sido 2 de ellas. Y estas empresas son las que nos están apoyando con libros, económicamente, abriéndonos espacio. Y lo que necesitamos ahorita son inversionistas que quieran poner su publicidad en las libreras, 1,350 quetzales al año, donaciones de libros o Kindles y retroalimentación, ideas que nos digan cómo podemos hacer que entre más dinero para poder seguir creciendo. Y ayuda legal, porque actualmente todavía no estamos legal. Mientras más leas, más cosas sabrás. Mientras más sepas, más lejos llegarás, decía Dos Trozos. Ya. Ahí ya tiene uno. Está bien. En las dos ubicaciones que tenemos en Antigua Guatemala y en Pepita Labs estamos haciendo reuniones mensuales en donde compartimos experiencias, conocimiento y también compartimos este proyecto. Entonces las personas al escuchar han estado interesadas en poder donar libros, han donado dinero y aparte entre nosotros hemos hecho contactos y nos hemos ayudado porque la mayoría que nos juntamos somos profesionales y emprendedores.
Gracias. En la segmentación que han hablado, ¿cuál sería el principal grupo objetivo, digamos? ¿Qué tipo de marcas están buscando o esperan que las que pauten en sus medios? Imagino que será en ese espacio que está hasta arriba del pallet, ¿no?
Sí, así es ese espacio y en las redes sociales publicamos que la persona o la empresa donó y es su ayuda social. Por ejemplo, ahorita tenemos bastantes libros de medicina. Tenemos un doctor, el jefe de la emergencia del San Juan de Dios, que nos donó toda su biblioteca. Entonces estamos pensando hablarle a la farmacia Galeno para que nos patrocine esa biblioteca y buscar un lugar donde haya necesidad. Podría ser un hospital en el interior de la República, una escuela de medicina. Entonces, dependiendo de las donaciones que hemos ido recibiendo, así vamos pensando en a quién podemos ir a tocarle la puerta para publicidad y los libros también.
Pero de tal manera que yo tomo un libro, lo leo y lo devuelvo, esa es la dinámica.
Sí, así es.
Ya.
Y en estos lugares coworkings ponemos libros un poco más valiosos, entonces es un espacio seguro, porque hay personas que nos han dado sus libros, sus tesoros, y nos andan viendo dónde andan y los cuidamos, los estamos cuidando.
Ok, solo como retroalimentación me parece muy bien como que es en el área visual donde está la publicidad, tal vez podría ser un poco más grande, ¿no?
Ah, va, está bien. Gracias.
A continuación tenemos a Jacob Nog con el proyecto 502 1Q Training Program. Bienvenido.
Buenas noches a todos, gracias a First Tuesday por el espacio que nos da el día de hoy a esta presentación. Y mi nombre es Jacob Nog, mi socio Vladimir Estacuy, y nosotros somos 502 1Q. ¿Quiénes somos nosotros? Nosotros somos un grupo de profesionales certificados con más de 4 años de experiencia en el área, apasionados por la tecnología y que estamos capacitando personas en el ámbito profesional de las redes de computadoras, que es una subrama de las telecomunicaciones para los que no están tan enterados de esto. La semana pasada estábamos con Vladimir en una conferencia donde renovamos nuestras estadísticas y precisamente Cisco, que es el líder mundial de las telecomunicaciones con sede en Estados Unidos, puso estas estadísticas: 800,000 trabajos de redes de computadoras hay para el 2015? Van a haber 96.600 nuevas plazas para el 2020 y va a haber un crecimiento proyectado del 31% en trabajos profesionales dentro del área de redes para el 2024. Ante esta necesidad que ha ido creciendo, nosotros desarrollamos un programa de entrenamiento donde consolidamos todas las competencias que tanto Vladimir y mi persona nos hemos sometido y hemos adquirido estas competencias y las consolidamos en una plataforma virtual y las pusimos al público en general. ¿Qué es lo que nos hace distintos? Lo que nos hace distintos es de que nosotros no somos una academia, nosotros somos un programa de entrenamiento. Nos enfocamos en el individuo porque cada una de las personas tiene dudas distintas, pero el material es el mismo para todos, pero cada persona tiene dudas puntuales y cada persona tiene ritmo individual en la forma de aprendizaje. Entonces nosotros nos enfocamos en eso, la mejora personal y profesional de cada uno de los individuos. ¿Qué es lo que estamos buscando el día de hoy? Nosotros llevamos un año operando, 2 promociones, 3 casos de éxito. Nosotros somos buenos para networking, nosotros somos buenos para dar clases, pero nosotros no somos muy buenos en el área de publicidad y mercadeo. Entonces queremos llevar al siguiente nivel nuestro proyecto con una mentoría o una asociación en mercadeo y publicidad, así como también mejorar nuestro modelo de negocio. ¿Por qué? Nuestro modelo de negocio actualmente consiste en la cobra directa al interesado, cobramos $65 mensuales, el programa de entrenamiento dura 4 meses y medio, y eso es lo que estamos buscando el día de hoy. Gracias. ¿Alguna duda? Mi amigo Vladimir les va a contestar.
Buenas tardes, compañeros. Solo con algún contacto o algún correo electrónico, ¿cómo se les puede para poder ingresar al training que ustedes están ofreciendo?
Buenas noches, claro que sí, tenemos nos pueden buscar en Facebook como 502.1Q, también en YouTube, pueden buscarnos como 502.1Q y ahí está la información del correo y el contacto directo con nosotros.
Gracias.
¿Tienen algún demo de cómo es su sistema de educación? Y segundo, si tienen algún nivel escolar o de nivel medio, nivel universitario, para ver quiénes son su grupo objetivo, ¿verdad?
Ok, gracias. En nuestra plataforma de YouTube, en nuestro canal, tenemos un video de presentación de cómo son las clases. Ahí nos pueden encontrar un demo de lo que nosotros damos y impartimos. Lo que realmente el individuo, lo que buscamos de la persona es que tenga aptitudes de conocimientos básicos de redes, porque el objetivo final es que él quiera certificarse en lo que es Cisco, que es SNA. Entonces sí buscamos una persona que tenga conocimientos básicos de redes.
Sí. Sí, yo iba a preguntar, pero ya era la misma
Okay.
inquietud. Gracias.
En el apoyo que buscan de marketing y publicidad, específicamente, ¿tienen presupuestado alguna cantidad para poder ver si es un rebranding completo, si es solo mercadeo, si es una estrategia específica de publicidad o el manejo de la página web? ¿Qué es el apoyo específico de marketing y publicidad que necesitan?
Sí, gracias. Fíjate que lo que nosotros queremos, el apoyo es de que nuestro mercado objetivo es bien específico, entonces las habilidades nuestras para llegar a ese mercado específico no sabemos cómo. Entonces sí tenemos presupuesto para poder trabajar, más o menos tenemos como 5,000 quetzales para ese presupuesto, pero sí quisiéramos aprender un poco más de cómo llegar a ese segmento en especial que nosotros no lo alcanzamos. Es básicamente lo que estamos buscando. Muchas gracias.
Seguiremos con la presentación y regreso cuando me estén haciendo preguntas.
Y a continuación, nuestro último pitcher es Rubén López con la aplicación Pierce. Bienvenido.
Buenas noches. Yo quiero platicarles de Pierce, una aplicación móvil que les permite hacer networking en eventos como este. Generalmente cuando uno viene a un evento como este, conoce a la persona con la que se sentó a la par, o si está en el momento del networking, quien llega con su café allá a la mesita a la que uno está, o tal vez una persona que le presenta a un amigo a uno. ¿Qué busca Pierce? Pierce permite que todos los que bajen la aplicación y metan ese código puedan ver quiénes son todos los que están en el código del evento que se muestra ahí. La aplicación está disponible para Android y iPhone actualmente. Este es el código de este evento. Entonces, si la bajan e ingresan ese código, van a poder ver quiénes son todos los que están aquí. ¿Cuál es la idea? Que uno pueda tener como una idea general, inicial, de quiénes son las personas con las que llegó a ese evento y posiblemente prepararse, hacer un pre-networking, ¿verdad? Cuando uno llega a la mesita ahí a la hora del vino y de las boquitas, pues ya ver uno, esta persona está interesante para conocer, la voy a abordar al final. Adicional a poder ver todos los asistentes que hay en el evento, Pierce les permite mostrar cuáles son las áreas de coincidencia con las personas. Por ejemplo, si una persona la descarga y en su perfil inicial pone, por ejemplo, la etiqueta UCLA de Universidad de California, por ejemplo, y otra persona tiene esa misma etiqueta, le va a decir qué coincidencia hay. Entonces, como que le ayuda a uno para hacer networking al final, diciéndole estas áreas de coincidencia, estas personas tienen coincidencias con usted en estas etiquetas. ¿Qué busco con la aplicación? Bueno, inicialmente recibir comentarios si creen que es útil, si no saben si hay algún sustituto actual. Y bueno, y que las personas básicamente la usen y que me den sus comentarios. No sé si tenían alguna duda. Si alguien quisiera bajarla, pues invitado de una vez y ya puede ver con quién va a hablar al final del evento, en el momento del networking. Entonces, ¿preguntas o dudas? No sé si no hay preguntas. Ya creo que hay una al fondo.
¿Hay posibilidad que si hay un contacto que realmente me interese, pueda de una vez guardarlo dentro de mi Outlook o ya me quede permanente para mandarle un correo o la información que necesito? Y la segunda pregunta es si queda durante cuánto tiempo queda la información en línea.
Sí, buena pregunta. Actualmente no tiene esa posibilidad. El producto ahorita es un MVP, es una versión mínima para ver comentarios y cómo funciona. Pero muy buena idea, yo creo que sería una buena opción poder migrar los contactos para que ya le queden a uno. Y sobre su segunda pregunta, perdone.
¿En cuánto tiempo queda la información en línea?
queda perpetuamente ahí. Usted puede desloguearse del evento, decir ya no me interesa mantener contacto con estas personas y se sale y ya nadie la puede ver. O puede quedarse ahí y decir, bueno, me recuerdo que en el First Tuesday que fui en el 2011 había un chavo con el que estuve hablando, lo voy a buscar en la app, ahí va a estar. ¿No sé si hay alguna otra pregunta? No sé si saben si hay algún sustituto o algo que les permita hacer lo mismo.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿Comentario?
Windows no está disponible en Windows. Lo pueden acceder vía el browser, desde otra plataforma, si no es Android o iPhone, con la dirección, bueno, ahorita es un piloto, tax 123. Esta es básicamente la pantalla, les dice qué peers hay, qué personas tienen coincidencias con ustedes y quiénes son los miembros de actualmente. Los que estoy viendo aquí creo que son los miembros ya reales, o los que lo han bajado. Entonces, y pueden agregar etiquetas básicamente. Entonces, no sé si no hay una pregunta.
¿Tenés pensado segmentar en algún tipo de eventos específicos o en qué eventos estaría esta aplicación disponible?
Fíjate que mi idea es que en cualquier evento como que sea un estándar, que vos llegues, ya sabes que en esta aplicación la bajás y podés conocer quiénes son los que están en el evento. De hecho, no quiero cerrarla solo para eventos, sino también abrirla para lugares. Por ejemplo, los chavitos llegan a un centro comercial y, pucha, qué bonita está esa chavita, la bajan, meten el código y ya pueden ver, si ella también tiene la aplicación y se logueó como en ese lugar, pues hablar con ella. Para lugares está Foursquare, creo que se llama, que puede hacer check-in y todo eso, pero con ciertas limitantes. Esto permite que solo con el código del evento puedas hacer check-in. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿Hay al fondo?
¿Qué tan segura es?
¿En qué sentido? Para el usuario que lo utilice. Ya. Bueno, ahorita básicamente el usuario puede registrarse, puede ingresar la información que él quiera, si quieres ingresar dónde estudiaste, dónde trabajas o nada. Bueno, básicamente te pide 2 etiquetas para tu perfil mínimo, que puedes poner tu deporte favorito o la información menos sensible que sea para vos. Entonces, desde el punto de vista de privacidad no te expone mucho en tu información sensible. Y desde el punto de vista de seguridad informática, que otra persona pueda acceder a este sistema, por el momento sí lo tengo hosteado en un servidor que es ¿cómo se llama? Que es gratuito. Pero cuando crezca, obviamente ya se le va a implementar mucha más seguridad. Ahorita es básicamente un piloto. Es el que estaba ahí, perdón, se los voy a mostrar. Acá. El código es FT de First Tuesday, solo FT 0916. FT 0916.
Muchas gracias. A continuación, brevemente Marinés Aguirre, quien es gerente de proyectos del Centro de Emprendimiento Kirchner, les va a compartir una competencia que está abierta a todos los emprendedores en el país.
Buenas noches, yo les voy a presentar el premio Cita a la Microempresa, la 11ª edición. Está abierto desde ya. A continuación les pasaré un video, pero solo para que tengan un poco de información previo al video. City Foundation comenzó haciendo estos premios hace 10 años. Desde el año pasado le pidió al Centro de Emprendimiento Kirchner que los apoyáramos en la ejecución de este premio. Así que los voy a dejar con el video para que puedan ver en qué consiste, las categorías que tiene el premio y hasta qué fecha pueden participar. Y si tienen alguna duda, ahí va a aparecer el link en el cual ustedes pueden ingresar y preguntarnos cualquier cosa. Muchas gracias. gracias. Este fue un video. Les enseñaré cómo se ve el link. Y les vuelvo a repetir por si no lo vieron en el video. Es fce.ufm.edu/Premio City. Aquí pueden encontrar más información del premio. En este lado les aparece las 4 categorías. Les aparece el jurado calificador, porque se tendrá un jurado calificador que evalúe todas las propuestas que se reciban y luego se seleccionarán a 6 ganadores, a 6 finalistas de cada categoría. Estos serán evaluados por el jurado y luego el día de la premiación, que será el 17 de noviembre, se dirá quién es el ganador por cada categoría y a quién se le otorga el ganador de ganadores. Para que se den una idea, rápidamente, al ingresar a cada una de las categorías se les dan los requisitos que deben de tener para poder participar. Y asimismo se menciona el monto total que se le otorga a esta categoría. Este monto va a estar dividido en premios de primero, segundo y tercer lugar. Y luego se menciona también que puede haber un ganador de ganadores que se selecciona de cualquiera de las 4 categorías. En esta parte se menciona que las inscripciones son hasta el 10 de octubre. Se comienza llenando este link en el cual se les pide una fotografía y una fotografía de su empresa. Y luego, cuando terminan de llenar esto, les pasa a otro link en el cual se les pide que suban un video de 1 minuto acerca de su emprendimiento o su idea. Si estuvieran en el colegio, se les puede aceptar nada más una idea y no que esté ya en marcha su negocio. Y cuando terminan de llenar ese segundo link, que es una información más detallada de su negocio, ya se toma como válida su participación. Así que aquí pueden ver el premio cityguatemala@gmail.com por si tienen alguna duda y se puedan contactar con nosotros. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, muy buenas noches. Tengo el gusto de presentar a nuestro presentador el día de hoy y quiero contarles una anécdota sobre este tema de la importancia de conocer personas. Yo conocí a Kitan Matuana, que es la persona que hoy nos va a compartir un poco de su vasta experiencia en estos temas de emprendimiento. Y la verdad es que quiero contar cómo lo conocí, porque uno nunca sabe dónde puede conocer personas con estos perfiles. Y invitarlos a ustedes para que en eventos como First Tuesday y muchos otros eventos en donde van, constantemente piensen en gente que es importante conocer. De hecho, yo siempre cuento esta anécdota que la verdad lo aprendí del fundador de esta universidad, y el doctor Manuel Ayau. Siempre que él iba a un evento se estudiaba los participantes del evento, ¿verdad? Y decía, yo quiero ir a este evento y quiero conocer a A, B, C, D, ¿verdad? Y tengo que decir que lo vi hacerlo porque me tocó acompañarlo varias veces con el grupo que iba de la universidad a eventos afuera, y tenía estudiado a la gente que él quería conocer para contarle del proyecto de la UFM, que era su emprendimiento, porque en realidad esta universidad fue fundada por emprendedores. Así que en esa misma línea, hace más o menos 1 año y medio, en un evento que hizo la Embajada de Inglaterra, en donde le entregaban el premio de unas becas para estudiar su maestría a algunas personas, y ahí había un graduado nuestro que me había escogido para estar presente el día que le entregaban el premio. Y me recuerdo que era un día como hoy, muy lluvioso, mucho tráfico, y a medio camino como diciendo, ¿será que vale la pena o no? ¿Verdad? Pero yo dije, bueno, él pensó en mí, así que tengo que estar ahí. Así que llegué al lugar. Y al final la embajadora se acercó a presentarme a Kitan, ¿verdad? Y en 5 minutos nos dimos cuenta del amor y pasión que él tiene por el tema de emprendimiento, que ahora voy a leer lo que él es en el mundo del emprendimiento. La verdad es que tenemos aquí a un peso pesado, literalmente, de este tema. Y para nosotros guatemaltecos y para nosotros Universidad Francisco Marroquín es honestamente un honor tener a alguien de este calibre, preocupado por potenciar el emprendimiento en Guatemala. Así que sí, es imposible tenerlo amarrado a una silla, lo van a observar su energía y Kitan está metido en 1000 proyectos y de esta misma manera se identificó muchísimo con Guatemala, así que está viniendo continuamente a la universidad, a varios proyectos que tenemos para la carrera de emprendimiento y su único fin en mente es poder potenciar a emprendedores en Guatemala. Así que procedo a presentarlo de la siguiente manera. Kitan es determinado en Inglaterra y reconocido como un emprendedor en serie. Emprendedor en serie se le llama a aquellos emprendedores que arrancan un negocio, lo echan a andar, cuando tiene cierto nivel de madurez arrancan otro y así, ¿verdad? Tiene varios negocios que él ha fundado a lo largo del camino. Dentro de ellos fundó lo que es conocido como Enterprise Lab, que es un lugar donde hay práctica de emprendimiento, en donde las personas que participan no solo practican y aprenden los conocimientos y habilidades, sino que además tienen oportunidad de ser fondeados, digamos, de recibir fondos para arrancar sus emprendimientos. Por supuesto, reconocido conferencista internacional, es creador del evento más grande en Inglaterra enfocado en educación y emprendimiento, que se llama Youth Enterprise Live. Es asesor del primer ministro de Inglaterra en temas específicos de política juvenil relacionados con educación y emprendimiento. De la misma manera que ha sido asesor del gobierno inglés para multiplicar o potenciar el desarrollo del ecosistema de emprendimiento, no solamente en su país, sino en otros países del mundo, en donde existen pues varios países africanos y asiáticos que han participado muy de cerca de él en este proceso. También es gerente de operaciones de una iniciativa que se llama Rockstar Startup y Rockstar Hub en Inglaterra, que es una organización líder en mentoría y financiamiento que ha generado más de 20 millones de libras esterlinas en financiamiento y esto ha dado soporte a más de 3,000 empresas que han empezado bajo esta sombría en Inglaterra. Así que para nosotros un gusto poder compartir a un perfil como Kitan en este foro y esperamos tenerlo por aquí muchas veces en estas visitas continuas que le hace a nuestra querida Guatemala. Muchas gracias, Kitan.
Okay, hello, 1, 2, yeah. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo estás? Okay, mi español poquito, so I'm going to turn into English now anyway, but you've got translators here, so they say hello. Okay, first of all, I want to thank Monica and Carolina and the team, and Sandy and the team here at UFM. I think in the part of that introduction, they've talked about how Monica and I met and what's happened since then. Without a team like this, these kind of opportunities wouldn't be possible. So, you know, it's thanks to you all here as a team that I'm here and I'm able to share stories and wisdom and experiences. But yes, very much so. I want to advise now with the introduction that Monica's done, she's going to be leaving to become my PR agent, basically. So thank you for that. So, what I'm here to talk about, I'm going to, you know, First Tuesday is all about telling stories, entrepreneurial journeys, and I think maybe I have a story that I could share with you. And what I've started this presentation on is 3 things about being different, being scalable, and being great. These are 3 things that have stuck with me throughout my life, my career, and what I am today. And I think it's really important, whatever you do in life, whatever you want to be in life, and whatever you achieve in life, do it by being different, being scalable, and being great. So let's start with the first one, which is being different. I'm a different guy. You wouldn't imagine this, but I'm the kind of person who normally likes to take the opposite way of doing something. So for all of you students at the back, normally when your parents tell you to do something, it's natural that you'll do the absolute opposite. And I'm that very kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy that will never take whatever is put in front of me as face value. I'm someone who doesn't like to assume anything. I like to validate. And through these kind of processes, I feel that I'm different. So, where I'm not different is like any of you. I have a family, that's my wife. It's my 2 children, and this is the kind of antics we get up to when I get back home, most of the time. Just like anyone else, I've been in education. I then finished education, went into the world of work, and really that's where I thought my career was going to be. I thought my ultimate dream was to have the best job, a director of a corporation. That's what I wanted to become. And my career started in IT. So I was working with a computer company. I developed a lot of my own sort of personal skill sets and achievements that I got seconded to Apple for a little while, and I worked with Apple on launching the iMac across Europe. And this is where my difference comes into mind. So we're talking about 1999 here, okay? And what was coming after 99 was the year 2000. And what did they, for those of you who understand what was happening at year 2000, they were trying to warn everyone that the whole world is going to end and computers are going to die, and you know, if you've got a computer, it's going to explode. Here's a guy that works with computers. So I went home and I'm really worried. I was really, really worried. I thought to myself, oh my God, something's going to go wrong here. I'm not going to have a job come January 2nd, 2000. And this is about the time where I used to earn more money than my mum and dad put together. And I was quite a young guy, very naive, that I decided to leave the job. I left. I left a high-paying job, working, seconded to Apple, because I thought on the 2nd of January, computers are going to explode. I am being honest with you. Loco, right? Completely loco. So I moved into electronics. And I didn't know anything about electronics. About the only thing I knew about electronics is to switch a light on and off, or to plug something in and make it work. But I went to go and work for a signage company. So these, you see them in the airports, those moving message signs. This is about 2000, April 2000, and this company used to produce queue systems which allow you to press a button and it calls for the next person. So you may see them in the supermarket or at certain offices or in a bank where they press a button and it says go to cashier number 5 or cashier number 4 or something like this. I joined this company and I'm kind of like, I don't understand. What else, you know, surely you can do more with these signs. And one day I went to go and see my doctor, okay, and I'm sitting in the waiting area waiting for my doctor, reading a magazine, and back then the doctors used to come out and see you, and then they shout your name. Now my name is Ketan. Imagine you're sitting in a room full of people and they call you cretin. Magazine goes up. But an idea dawned in my head. Could we use these systems to actually call patients forward so people don't get the names mispronounced? Could we work out a system where people who perhaps have audible issues can see a sign that's coming up? So I went back, I spoke to my bosses, and I said, I think I've got an idea, and I want to work on this. Over 5 years, between 2000 and 2005, I developed the patient call and information system, which ended up going into every GP practice across the whole of the UK, taking the company from £250,000 trading when I joined them to just under 5 million of revenue in my own division. And here's a guy who doesn't even know what electronics is all about. Thinking different doesn't mean that you have to know everything about whatever it is that you want to do. It's about having the vision or the ability and the confidence to actually step forward and say, I think I found a problem, and I think I have an idea on how we can solve that problem. And like Richard Branson normally says, or others that have said on their quotes, sometimes it's better to just jump off the cliff and then build the plane on the way down. Well, there's a little bit of that element that goes into this. Thinking different means you don't have to be radical, you just got to be smart. thinking different is not just about creating evolution and revolution, it's about simplicity. Because we compete too much to think different. And because of that competition, we over-engineer our ideas. Whereas if you keep it simple, it gets you where you want to be. Well, fast forward from 2005, I moved out of electronics and into healthcare, and I worked with medical devices. And in 2009, after taking on a global product management role for a dialysis company, this happened. 6-figure salary. My children were happy. 2-3 holidays a year, Christmas presents, bikes, takeaways. We were living a life. Not anymore. I'm surplus to the requirement. I'm no longer required. You know what was going through my head? What am I going to do now? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to see? How am I going to overcome this? What if my wife leaves me now because I can't buy her any more jewelry or take her away on holiday? All of a sudden, it's stop going to the expensive supermarket, start going to the cheaper supermarket. You know, don't worry if you drop the bread, just turn it over, let's butter it again and start over again. Let's economize the way we're working. But the problem here was, everyone will come to a point in their life where you're going to have what we call a drama. And that's a drama. For me, it was. It's the bit where you say, poor me, poor me. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Who's going to help me? What's going to happen to my future? It's me, 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 me. I'm just making sure they keep up with me, basically. So me, 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 me. Okay? That happened to me. I left work that day when I got told that I'm a surplus to requirement, I'm no longer going to be required. And all I did on the way home is, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to find another job? Who's going to offer me something? Because it was the middle of the financial crisis. Everyone was losing their jobs. That means that every job that was available, instead of 2 or 3 people going for it, you're talking about 200 or 300 people going for it. I'm just now a little dot in a big sea. So I got home, and the biggest question was, do I say anything to my wife? And no, I didn't. That pride in me said, don't say anything. You can sort this out tomorrow. But I went to bed that night after dinner, and I was looking up, and it was really dark, and I looked up and I thought to myself, I'm still thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And it was one of those nights, I don't know if you've ever had this, where it's completely dark in your bedroom, but when you open your eyes and you're looking up, you can still see the ceiling. Well, it was one of those nights. In fact, I could even see a pretend spider going across. You know, that always happens as well. I had all of this going on, but I just kept thinking about me, 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 me. Until the morning, by the early morning, I got to the stage where I'd exhausted everything about me, and I started to think about what was happening around me. I went to work the next day. The next morning, I went into the office, opened the door to the managing director's office, sat down, in front of his desk, and I said, right, okay, I'm going to take your redundancy, but only on one condition. And he says, okay, what is that? And I said, you give me a job. And he goes, sorry? And I said, that's right. You can sack me as long as you hire me. You can fire me as long as you hire me. And he goes, Geron, I know this is a hard time. And he goes, I know this is quite tough on you, but what are you saying? I said, no. You're listening with the intent to reply rather than to understand. And he goes, well, make me understand then. I said, okay. Here is the problem. We're in a recession. You can't afford the resources. So right now, you're removing all of this employment out of your company. Eventually, the market's going to stabilize, and you're going to want to grow. But now you don't have the resources. So what do? You hire contractors and consultants while you find your next resource or an employee. These people don't understand your business, they don't understand your culture, they don't understand your customers, they don't understand what you want to do. They're just interested in making money. Why don't you give that job to me? And I'm sitting there, my hands are going like this, not because of what he's going to say. He's going to say, in my head I'm thinking, my wife's going to kill me now because I've just talked myself out of a job. And the guy was just still, silent, looking at me. And all of a sudden, he goes, do you know what? That's a great idea. And I'm like, eh? You know, it's that bit where your brain still hasn't engaged what's coming out and your mouth is going, wah, wah, wah. That's what happened to me. I was like, whoa, he bought that. Amazing! He goes, take a week off, take your severance, and come back as a contractor. So I went home. I still had my company car. I still had my phone. It was only 6 months later, after that contract, when I forgot to tell my wife that I'd lost my job. Because the car went, the phone went, and she got worried. And she goes, what's going on? I said, oh, I lost my job 6 months ago. And she's like, you're telling me now? I'm like, I forgot, sorry. But in a sense, what happened here was, something happened as I walked out of that room. I looked to myself and I said, what have I just done to myself? I'd been employed, become unemployed, and then moved on to become self-employed. I didn't become an entrepreneur, I became self-employed. I just became responsible for something on the basis of making and earning to live and sustain who I'm going to become. And this is the thing about entrepreneurship. Most people figure that entrepreneurship is all about business, and entrepreneurship is just about becoming a CEO. In this world, you don't become a CEO. You start employed or unemployed, you become self-employed, then you become a business owner, then you become a CEO. And the whole purpose of entrepreneurship, thinking differently. It's all about being able to bring up an alternative way of overcoming the challenge that's in front of you. Now, in its own quirky way, I found self-employment as a solution to unemployment, even though I'd made a few hiccups along the way. Anyway, I became self-employed and I thought, well, hold on, I'm not the only one that lost their job in this recession. So I started to branch out and I asked them questions. I said to some other guys in my network, I said, you lost your job, what are you doing? They go, well, we're not really doing much at the moment. We don't want to go to work for a supermarket. We'd rather wait until things go down. I said, have you ever thought about going self-employed? Now, the reason I wanted to do that is because I got so excited after getting that first contract with my former employee, I went and opened my mouth around the industry and I got more contracts than I could actually deliver. So I was either going to fail because I've now bought more than I can chew, or I could be really interested, really entrepreneurial about this and get someone else to do the work. So I found a couple of guys and I said, I tell you what, I've got a contract. Why don't you come and do some work for me and I'll pay you. 6 months on, we had a paper value on contracts of over 1.2 million pounds, and we had 300 self-employed professionals working in the network. Another 6 months on, I sold the company for 7 figures. And I don't know what I'm doing. It's just that someone made me an offer and I said, okay. What I want to tell you here is that thinking differently doesn't mean that you've got to completely re-innovate the way you do things or revolutionize. Sometimes it's small, small steps on the journey to where you want to go. So really, what did I do? I took that leap of faith. I took that jump, but I did it in a very, very specific way. I didn't jump like I could jump off this stage, because if I did that, I'm sorry, but you're finished. Remember, I'll probably injure myself. And this is the whole thing that books like The Lean Startup talk about, and what I talk about through things of a point of or a journey of 100 miles starts with its first step. It's very much the whole thing of whatever you want to go out and do, identify the destination that you want to be at, reverse engineer. So now you know what you want to be at. Then you've got to start working back to what does it take to get to where you want to be. And then when you've built your plan, you turn it upside down and say, right, this is where I've got to start from. And it's one step at a time, not a jump, not a leap, not a faith, because you end up fracturing yourself. You'll end up injuring yourself, and you'll probably end up removing any confidence that you have in any processes that you could ever have. That journey is going to pivot you along the way. Had I not gone to the ambassador's residence for that evening, I wouldn't have met Monica. Had Monica not decided to take a little light to me, I wouldn't be on this stage. Life is full of encounters. Some people say it's serendipitous. I don't say that. There's no such thing as luck. You make your own luck. It's the way you think. You're there on purpose. You are here today with me. That symbolizes something for me. Whether it's an opportunity for me to engage in work, or it's just that I have one opportunity to touch, into your lives and give you something back. The point of it is we've come together on purpose. And that's what happens in life. So I want you to think differently. Don't think things come to other people because there's luck. Because there's a saying that I stand by, that lucky people get opportunities. Brave people take opportunities. But it's winners in the face of adversity that make opportunities. And just by you coming here today and thinking differently, you will make opportunities. Don't wait for them to come. You can go out and grab them. So, the second thing I want to talk to you about is becoming scalable. What does it mean to be scalable? I think a lot of people believe it's growth, but it's not. It's a multiplier effect. I think one of the most important things in life is that you've got to produce a model that works. Understand why it works, and then start to push that model out in a way of actually multiplying it. So rather than just being in one place at one time doing one thing, you could actually have 2 or 3 of these things happening at the same time. So you think about like a franchise or something like that, that tends to have a multiplier effect. That's how you scale all your businesses and stuff like that. But so you got this story here of the fact that I had 2 companies. So the first company was an outsourcing agency. My second company, I know you guys are filming this, and you better edit this out before my wife sees it, otherwise she's going to kill me. But the secret to this is my next business is I wanted to travel the world, but I didn't want to take my wife and kids with me. Sorry. So I created a company which would allow me to travel, but without them. How cool is that? All the boys are right, I'm taking the notes down on this one. So I started a brand marketing agency which went out to look for niche healthcare brands from around the world which I could bring to Europe. Remember, I've got the model of outsourcing, so the whole idea of it is get the client, build a project, outsource it out. I don't have to do any work, I can just keep traveling. And I had some great fun with this product, because I got to go and see different parts of the world, and I got to see different cultures, and I got to meet different people, which is what it was all about. If there's anything in life that I can say to you about how you scale yourself up, if you get the opportunity or make the opportunity, travel. Because the more you travel out there, the more you'll learn on how things are done in different places, the more you become more of a global citizen, the more you can actually help affect whatever it is that you want to achieve. So travel the world as much as you can. So anyway, coming back to this whole story of the fact that I avoided my wife and kids coming out with me, a couple of projects and projects that I got involved with, I took a kinesiology tape, which is a sports therapy tape from Canada, and I introduced it into the European market, helping them do over 500,000 rolls in the first year. How many of you are soccer fans? Yeah? Gareth Bale was one of my first clients there, and as a result of this, I brought an energy-based glucose drink to the European market and got Cristiano Ronaldo as the global ambassador. The product's called Soccerade. If you want to Google it, you'll find it. I had a great time. I was working with women's makeup. I was working with all sorts of different things, having a great time doing this stuff. But what I'm talking about in terms of scalability here is I didn't focus on scalability of business in terms of revenue. I was talking about scalability of business in my own personal interest. What was I most passionate about and what was I most angry about? Because in business, to succeed in whatever it is that you want to do, you can no longer just be passionate. You have to be angry. You have to be angry. Passion gets you up and gets you to work every day. Anger drives you forward. How many of you go to the gym, work out? I do that all the time. No. So when you're doing weights, right? Do you do weights? Yeah? So you don't do weights and go, oh, I'm tired, and put it down. I hope you don't, but you're supposed to be pressing to a stage where when you're building, you want to push beyond that pain barrier. And that's where anger comes in. This is why professional weightlifters use a product called creatine, because it creates aggression. Where is the creatine in your business? Because that's the bit that's driving you forward. Passion will only keep you alive. It will only keep you going back into work. It's the anger that drives you through. And do you know what? For the brand management company, when I set that up, it was all about giving the little guy a chance. 6 months, just over a year after setting up that business, I had a client come through called FitPro. They had a magazine. We were doing a project. I started to give them some examples of how I'd been collecting data. They looked at the data. They were interested. They made me an offer, so I sold all my data and left that business. And this is roughly around 2011. 2011, then I thought, right, I've sold 2 businesses. I don't really have to work if I don't want to. I'm going to do something else. And I think in windows, looting and fighting with cops. They were burning cars, and in fact, other young people are dying trying to protect their family businesses. I was watching this from on TV from home, and I said to myself, this is a problem. This is a really big problem, and someone's got to do something about it. How many times have any of you come up with something, you know, where you watch something, you see something, and you say, oh, someone should do something about that? Anyone ever done that before? Well, let me tell you, for everyone that just said yes, you are all someone. So stop saying someone can do something about it, because you could do something about it. You know, and for me, I thought, what can I do? Now, I drive on the whole perspective of perception drives your behavior, drives your attitude, drives your action. So whatever it is that you perceive, the way you see it, you produce a behavior towards this. And when I saw this, most people will look at this and say, damn you, young people. Look at the misery that you're causing and the pain that you're causing. I looked at it as young people crying out for help. If we look at the statistics back in 2011, there were 1 million young unemployed people in the UK. You know, the country was going through an economic recession with no recovery. Job prospects were really bad. And here you've got this going on. This was the breaking point where they just broke out and they were hitting out. And I thought to myself, this is just young people lashing out with the fear and the anger that they've got nothing for their futures. So I got out a nice big piece of paper and a pen, and I started to put some stuff together. And overnight, I came up with an idea for an event. I've never done an event before in my life. And here I am with an event. I've got an idea for it. Let's get industry and sectors together. Let's get young people together, and we're gonna see what happens. So, because I don't know how to do an event, I was ringing event companies. Every event company puts the phone down on me because I was talking about young people. So I said, okay, maybe it's not the events. Let's go for some corporations. Some big corporations, maybe they can give us some social money. Every corporation puts the phone down on me. And I'm like, this is not wrong. You know, this is not right. You know, something's got to give here. Something's got to break. Most people with a bit of a novel idea, they've given it a shot. No one's responding. What would you do? It's not my concern. Remember, I think differently. I said, why? Why are people putting the phone down on me? Do you know what it did? It actually pushed me to prove a point even more. I thought I need to appeal to a higher source that day, and unfortunately God wasn't available. So I said, I'll get the Prime Minister involved. It's not like I can pick up the phone and say, all right, Dave, can you sort out some stuff for me? Have you ever heard the saying 6 degrees of separation? Not 50 Shades of Grey, ladies, no, not that book. I'm not talking about that book today. That's not the wrong talk. That's last Tuesday, not first Tuesday, okay? 6 degrees of separation. Losing my flow. 6 degrees of separation. You're only 6 degrees away from whoever you want to be connected to. But let me tell you something, guys. you better prepare yourself if you want to get connected and be connected to the person of your choice, because it can happen quite quickly, and if you're ill prepared, you lose that opportunity. So looking through my network, actually I was 3 degrees away from the Prime Minister. I went and met a person from a charity who one of my co-founders for another company knew, and I imparted a vision. I said to them, this is what I believe in, this is what I want to do, and this is what I believe is going to be right for the country. I go, and so he goes, so what can I do for you? And I said, you've been into Downing Street, you know the Prime Minister, can you not get me some sort of viewing to him? Now this happened around about October 2011, okay? By April 2012, I was connected to go to Downing Street. So 6 months of networking, giving a little bit of help, support, driving, imparting your vision, not giving up, just kept going and going and going. I got to Downing Street. I walk into Downing Street, I'm like, yes, I'm going to meet the Prime Minister. I'm greeted by this guy, and he goes, hi, I'm here to see you. And I said, no, I'm here to see the Prime Minister. And he goes, no, you're seeing me. And I said, no, I'm here to see the Prime Minister. And he goes, you're seeing me. I said, no, I'm here to see the Prime Minister. He goes, we can do this all day. He goes, we've only got... Remember I told you about passion and anger? Well, passion left the stairs and the Incredible Hulk came out, basically. I got to say, do you understand what you're trying to say here? Can we go another step? Do you want more people to die? Does the Prime Minister want to lose the votes? Blah, 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 blah. I was just going all the way, so you don't have to translate the blah, blah, blah. He was just overwhelmed. I got to the stage where he just escorted me to the door and he goes, thank you very much for coming, there's nothing else I can do. At which point I decided to get a picture taken with the famous door. But it was raining, not as hard as Guatemala, but it was raining. And there was the police officer there and I said, can you take a picture of me? We didn't do selfies back then because we didn't have that capacity on our cameras. Anyway, just as he's about to take the picture, the door opens. And the guy turns around and goes, I've been thinking about what you said. He goes, the Prime Minister's hosting a reception tonight at 6 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why don't you come back? I said, okay, why not? I go, will I get to see the Prime Minister? He goes, yes. I'm like, double fist pump. Anyway, I walk out of Downing Street, I turn left, and instead of walking into a coffee shop and being a good citizen, while I have a coffee, unfortunately it wasn't Guatemalan, it's probably some other rank brand somewhere along the line. I walked into a bar and I got on the cervezas. Yeah, I'm a bad man. I'm gonna see the Prime Minister. Facebook, 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 boof. Facebook, Facebook, boof. Facebook, Facebook, boof. 2 hours, no food, 5 pints. I smell like I've just come out of the Gale factory. Well, the Gale factory is just giving me this free... I just stank of booze. I walked out, it's raining heavier than it was. I haven't got an umbrella. I'm now looking like a drunken rat walking back to Downing Street at 6 o'clock. Okay, get through security, get up through the door, into this room, Facebook, McDonald's, Home Retail Group, all the biggest corporations, Shell, everyone's there. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Pick up the first possible thing. It wasn't a water, it was a wine. Poof. Prime Minister comes, oh my God, I can see him. Poof. By the time he got up and did his speech, I'd had 4 glasses of wine on top of the 5 pints of beer. Okay? Then he decides to get off the stage. He gets off the stage and I'm like, oh my God, he's coming. Oh, come on, quick, he's coming. And by the time I went to reach for the next glass, he's there in front of me. He goes, hi, I'm David Cameron. What do you think I did? No, I didn't puke on him, don't think. I took his hand and I started shaking it. I'm going, yeah, I know who you are. And he goes, so what do you do? And I'm like, how long have you got? Have you ever been in that position? Ever been in the position you worked really hard to be somewhere or with someone or get to a point, and when you get there, you fluff your whole lines? Ever been there? Well, I was there. I was so there. Okay? And I'm like kicking there saying, what the hell are you doing, Ken? Come on, I'm not saying that. I'm just like, I'm stuck like this. I'm still shaking his hand. It's like 2 minutes of shaking the man's hand. He goes, can I have my hand back now? Anyway, he turns around and he goes, look, thank you very much for coming to the reception. I really enjoyed this. I need to see some other people. Enjoy the rest of the reception. At which point he turns away. What do you think I did? I grabbed his arm. And as I grabbed his arm, I said, oh, I'm not going to say it for the camera, but oh, bad word. They'll never let Indians back into Downing Street. What have I done? In his own backyard, I've grabbed the Prime Minister of our country. I've fiddled him around, but I did say to him, in 45 seconds, after kind of readjusting myself, right, we know what the problem is. We've got 1 million young unemployed people. They're fear for their opportunities, and as a result of that, this is what they're doing. I've got a solution that I want to put forward, which is where we put industry and sector together alongside with young people and see, so they can both see their opportunities and their abilities. My problem, Mr. Prime Minister, is no one knows who I am, so they don't take me seriously. I don't want money from you. All I want is a letter supporting me so I can do this event. And he goes, okay. I said, is it that easy? 45 seconds later, I was partying on with the more wine, man. That was in April 2012, okay? May, June, July. I'm like, these bloody politicians, all talk, no action. I was with a client, my phone rings. It's my wife. Wife never rings me at lunchtime. Yes, dear? You got mail? Yes, thank you. I know I get it every day. No, you got mail. I'm like, what is it? You got mail. What is it? Is it an eviction notice? Have I forgot to pay a bill? It's from Downing Street. Oh, bloody open it. She opened it, and there was a handwritten letter from David Cameron, signed Dave, supporting my event. In 2012, I created Youth Enterprise Live. It impacted 18,500 young people. We gave away £750,000 in funding to help young people start up their businesses. £150,000 of social enterprise funding, 3,000 apprenticeships and 300 jobs in 2 days. And we delivered this project between 3 people in 6 months. So from July right the way through to October, we got this done. I want to tell you today that you can have a ridiculous idea, you can think that it's poor, you can have people close doors on you, but at the end of the day, to scale something up, you need to keep progressing at it. You've got to know that there is a system, that there is a model, and the way you can grow. And why am I sharing this part of this story here with the scalability? Is you just don't know where it takes you. A week after doing this event, I was summoned back to Downing Street, and I thought, oh my God, this is where I'm going to get arrested for handling him. Sat down, and he said to me, this is the Prime Minister, he goes, you're quite a disruptor, aren't you? Hey, I like that name. You are a disruptor. If you look at my business card, I'm CEO and Chief Disruptor. And that's it. I'm waiting for this whole moment to arrive where he's going to say, but we're going to have to arrest you for handling me. And he goes, would you like to become a special advisor to youth policy here in the UK? I'm like, Me? He goes, yeah. He goes, I think you're just the right fit. He goes, we can't pay you. He goes, but would like the honor? That one move scaled me as an individual and a brand right over the world. It's because I've been an advisor to the Prime Minister that the UK ambassador to Guatemala actually invited me over to Guatemala. It took me in places that I cannot fathom. So I want you to learn from the fact that you can be, whatever you do something that has scalability built into it, but understand that you could be launched into something completely different. My whole career has changed since 2012. You know, as much as I do in business, I spend more time on the stage trying to tell stories and inspire people. And that's really what I've always wanted to do. I'm actually living my dream now. But it starts, your scalability can start from anywhere and it can launch you from here. So don't, always be brave, be bold, and push out, because you just don't know where it's going to take you. So being great, there's me. I was a bit fatter. Downing Street. Here's the letter. Well, that's the letter with the Prime Minister. I don't know if any of you recognize that room, but that's an auditorium from here in UFM during MIT. That's your stage in your conference room. I've worked with royalty. This is a guy who 6 years ago lost his job. Didn't know really what he was going to do. Didn't tell his wife. Just kind of stumbled along. But whatever you do it with pride, do it with passion, and do it with anger. But when you do it like that, that's where the greatness comes out of it. Whatever you do, leave legacy. Be remembered. Give value. Because in my line of work now, it's all about value. I'm part of a 20 select entrepreneur group for the UK, which does an entrepreneurial summit to look at where we're going to address the issues of entrepreneurship and employability. MIT have given me opportunities to become an advisor on the GSW stuff. I didn't even finish university. I'm on the advisory board for King's College London. I'm on the advisory board for the British Council's Entrepreneurship Africa project. How the hell do you get on these things? I don't even know. It's coming by invitation. Why? Because I'm always focused on my passion and my anger, and I let my passion rule my heart, but I let my head be focused through anger. Whatever I'm doing because I'm pissed off that it's not there already, and that I have to go out there and do this. I have to make that change. For me, value isn't about the number of digits I have in my bank balance, but more the number of digits that I can engage with throughout any 1 year. 2013, after my first world tour, I contracted malaria and almost died. Okay? My wife wouldn't let me out of the country for almost 1.5 years. It's like literally I had a padlock put in and it was just cuffed here to the stage. 6 months ago, at the back end of 2015, I decided this is enough. I really want to get out there. I want to get out there and I want to make waves again. And through my heart, I decided that I wanted to get back out and do a Disruptive Talks tour. And this is where I wanted to go in my bucket list to 3 places in the world that I've never been. And I wanted to make sure that by the end of the year, I've actually circumnavigated the whole globe and spoken to at least 100,000 people. Okay? It was in my heart. It was in my heart, and that's what I followed. On the first half of this year, I came over to Guatemala in June, and then I was in Brazil in July as well. Brazil is a place I've never been for in my life. 52,000 miles, 42 cities, 4 continents, and almost 80,000 people had been engaged with. And I haven't even finished the year yet. Don't tell me it's not possible. Don't tell me I can't. Because in life, if you want to be great, you have choices. You always have a choice. It's not about the choice you make, it's the decision that you take. That's what makes you great. Make a choice, yes, that's great, but take a decision. Act upon it. I don't want to hear that I didn't have a choice, because you do have a choice. It's the decision that you're making. Most people fear taking that decision because they think they're going to lose something. If you keep looking behind you, you're never going to see what's in front of you. And life isn't about the destination that you get to, but it's the small journeys that you take and the people that you meet and the creation of what you make. So for me, I want you to answer, I want you to ask yourself questions. What is it that I totally believe in, that I'm totally passionate about? What is it that makes me angry? What is it that I can do to impact and influence that? What is the value that I can give? And more importantly, it's a situation of how do I keep moving forward? Because if you want to be different, if you want to be scalable, and if you want to be great, you have to keep moving forward. There's no point working backwards. The world doesn't work backwards. The time doesn't go backwards. So why would you think backwards? So today I've started and scaled and sold 2 businesses. I've impacted over 500,000 people around the world. I sit on the advisory board of about 12 companies. I've mentored over 600, supported 3,200 different businesses on startup, helped on investments, been an advisor to the Prime Minister, sitting on different advisory boards. Don't know how the hell I got on there, but I'm there. But that just validates to me that I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of some quotes of my, throughout my life, and then maybe we open the floor for some questions and stuff like this. So I think some of the morals of being different, being scalable, being great does resonate with this first quote here, which is the distance between your dreams and reality is what we call action. A lot of you can be inspired by my story. A lot of you may feel like you can go and do something and want to do something about this, which is great. I love that. If I can give you some sort of spirit to move forward, that's brilliant. The difference here is most of you will dream about it. Most of you keep talking about it, but you won't do anything about it. Well, you believe, I can't do anything. Remember, life has choices. You always have choices. You've always got decisions. You're only 6 degrees away from anyone that you want to be with. So the distance between your dream and your action and realities is what we call action. This one's quite personal to me. There's never going to be one answer to any one question. And the reason I tell you this is when I was young, I was told by my maths teacher that I'm no good at maths and I'll never amount to anything because of maths. Never used that as motivation, but I was kind of confused because I used to get the answer right, but I did it faster than the other students. You know what the problem was? I didn't conform. I didn't conform to the process the methodology that they wanted me to do. So he would fail me on the fact that I didn't follow their path. And in life, there's never going to be one answer to any one question. It's the answer you want to create it to be. We can all take different routes to get to the same destination. Why should we conform and make that uniform? So if you see someone doing something in a particular way, it doesn't mean you have to follow it. You can innovate your own way. It's important. And the difference of being scalable, being different, and being great is you make your rules, but you've got to then abide by them. Your mistakes make you who you are. You learn and grow with every choice that you make. Come on. What does the word failure mean? Does anyone want to tell me? What does the word failure mean? No? No one want to tell me what failure means? Exit? Do you think it's the opposite of success? Failure is not the opposite of success, yeah?
Opportunity to learn?
Absolutely, there is an opportunity to learn. Okay, let me give you a quick 101 on failure. Failure doesn't exist in my vocabulary. I don't believe in failure, and I'm going to sound really arrogant when I say this, but I will never fail. I can only learn. Okay? This hand represents expectation. This hand represents delivery. The gap between your expectation and your delivery is failure. The gap between the expectation, what you expect it to look like, and what you deliver is what we call failure. It's giving you an opportunity to reiterate. Was my expectation too high? Or was I just damn too lazy and didn't put enough effort into it? Do I not have the right resources? Failure is something which people can live and, they die by it within their businesses. It can be really painful. It can be a real cause and effect to actually put people off. It's a learning point. It's all it is, a learning point. If there's any one thing that I can request you to do is take that word out of your vocabulary forever. Replace it with learn, replace it with experience, and replace it with opportunity. So every time you feel that you've not got something that you were expecting, there is an opportunity to change that. Always an opportunity to change that. And believe me, you will learn a lot more from that than you would learn in any other book, because it's life, it's yours, it's personal. And success is another thing on the flip side of this. It's a perception that society bestows upon us. But success is your own thing, so never compare it to anyone else's. It's yours, it belongs to you. The minute you compare your success to anyone else, you start living theirs. Don't live their success, live your own. I live my own success. I'm happy. I don't need to have all the money in the world. I don't need to be a billionaire. I'm living what I want to do. I'm learning from what I want, from all of this, and it helps me to keep growing. It took 6 years for my parents to really understand what I do, but when they saw it, it was amazing. I think my wife still to this day doesn't really know what I do. She just thinks, my kids think I actually just go on holiday. That's all they think I do. Okay. Don't chase people, be an example, attract them. The bit here I want to talk about is people will come and go in your life. Okay? Those that are supposed to be there, they'll stay, and they'll remain always. Those that come and go, it's just a natural part of life. You know what? Sometimes you've had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and it hasn't worked out. They go. Some people mull over it for the next couple of, or cry or whatever it is for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden they meet someone else. Happens. The same happens in business. Sometimes you start with particular co-founders, but the relationship goes sour. It's a part and process. When I started Enterprise Lab, there were 3 of us. Now there's only me on the top helm of that business. It's just a natural order. But whatever you do, don't chase people. Do what you do and make enough noise that they can hear it, that they come to you, that they become magnetized towards you. You will get much more out of the people that you admire and follow if they come to you than if you chase them. We talk about the traits of successful people. There is a mental resolve of keep going. Just keep going. Part and parcel of the success of Youth Enterprise Live and what it brought to me in launching my career was great. The failure point of this was that the business suffered and failed, and I lost £250,000 in that business. I'm not saying you need grit and mentality to keep moving forward. You just got to understand that loss is a part of gain as much as failure is a part of success. At the end of the day, if you do give in at that moment in loss, you've just give up all the work that you've actually put. What was worth doing it in the first place? I want you to remember, whatever you can lose, you can always regain back. The only thing you can't is time, your health to a certain extent, and your spirit. Because once you fix yourself into something where I can't, it's really hard to get around to I can. The only thing you have to do is keep practicing. Keep practicing. Collaborate, share your ideas, build, impart your visions. But whatever you do, do it from the heart, not from the head. So, I've always talked about the fact that attitudes and behaviors reflect in your actions and your outcomes. You want to change your results, you want a better life, you want richness, whatever it is that you want out there, you're not getting it. To change your results, you have to change your actions. To change your actions, you have to change your attitude. To change your attitude, you have to change your behavior. And to change your behavior, you have to change the way you see something. So a 1% change in your attitude, I can guarantee you will give you 100% change in your results. And that, my friends, is the secret of how to be different, be scalable, and be great. Thank you very much.
Would you like to sit over there?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Keaton, for Keaton or Ketan? I have always said Keaton.
Are you saying that now because of the whole mispronunciation?
Yeah.
As long as you don't call me Cretin.
You mentioned
okay.
that your name is Ketan.
It's Ketan, that's right.
Oh, okay. So thank sharing with us all these experiences, knowledge, and you are also so funny to tell the story. So thank you for being with us and sharing all this knowledge with all the audience. So now we are open for questions, abiertos a preguntas para poder aprovechar un poco más a Ketan.
Hello.
¿Alguien quiere empezar?
Yes.
Y puede hacer la pregunta en español, en inglés, ¿verdad? Él tiene traductor ahí para escuchar la pregunta en español si hay alguien que quiera.
Okay.
Hi, Kidan. Thank you very much to come here to Guatemala. I just want to know what were the books you read that changed your life in the way you think right now?
Okay. I actually, when I first started, wasn't really a book reader. I'm more of someone that needs to experience life rather than read it from a book. But I then got into a few audiobooks, and that really kind of inspired me to really read a lot more. And as I was explaining to Monica this morning, I'm actually not reading one book right now, I'm reading two at the same time. So I've got to be careful that I don't mix the two things over. But a couple of books that really helped me. The first one was A Little Book of Innovation, The Little Black Book of Innovation by Anthony D. Scott. That one really talks about how you innovate yourself and how you really open up innovation in small steps. Because this is all about redefining and realigning yourself. There is a book by a lady called Rachel Elnor called Ultimate Failures. And Rachel Elnor was like a dragon, a bit like, you got Shark's Tank. She was one of those kind of judges on those programs. She had a business called Red Letter Days, which is an experiences business, and overnight it failed. And she actually made a business out of her failure, which is, because she failed, she could actually regrow herself. And she's really goes into what you've got to do in your mind, what you've got to do in your attitude, and what you've got to do in your actions to actually overcome failure. And I think those two books really sort of hit home with me. Right now, I'm reading a book called The Frugal Innovation, which is all about how you do something with nothing at all. How do you create something with nothing at all? And the second book that I'm reading is called The Silo Effect, which is how do you disrupt? And this is based on the 2008 financial crisis, on how organizations had to change and adapt. So for me, my journey with books my relationship with books has been a little bit hit and miss. I've been more of the, let me prove by doing. But these are the kind of books that have really made a difference for me. I mean, one of the things I can do perhaps for the team is create a list that I have, and maybe that reading list could be sent out to everyone that's interested, really.
Definitely, thank you. Para que todos sepan, de hecho, en la página del Kirchner Entrepreneurship Center hay una lista de libros que nos han sugerido algunos de los emprendedores que vienen, así que con mucho gusto podemos agregar la lista que él nos mande. You send us the list and we will post it in the Kirchner Entrepreneurship Center website.
And then, obviously, it's going to be my book as well, which is coming out soon. And you must all go out and buy it. Okay, so there's a book coming out very soon. Hopefully I should be able to give you more news about this when I come back next month. But my book's called Your Attitude Sucks, and it's about 10 principal steps from disappointment to disruption. So watch out for that.
Thank you, Kitan.
Thank you, Kitan. And excelente pregunta. Otra pregunta. Ahí atrás. Microphone. The microphone.
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
You guys.
Great. I have another question.
I am not your conventional thinker of I need titans of industries to be my inspirations. I think they've done what they've done in their own time, in their own age, in their own generations. But for the work that I do, the way that I do work, my pure inspiration is the people that I get to work with. Being able to to look and feel and see that my words or the work that I'm doing with someone is making a positive difference. It's helping them achieve or become, create an image of fake answer or anything like that, but it really does. I mean, I couldn't do my work and what I do and the way I do it if I didn't have an audience like yourselves who then want this and hear this and take it on and do things with it. So really the core to my inspirations and what inspires me and what drives me is the very people that I'm talking to today.
Thank you.
How old are you?
Sorry? How old are you? Do you know it's not a nice question to ask? I know you're not supposed to ask a woman her age, but come on. I tell you what, as soon as you ask that question, let me ask one back. How old do you think I am? Get it right and you get a free book.
43?
Okay guys, higher or lower? Hands up if you think I'm younger than 43. Hands up if you think I'm older than 43. I'm going. I'm leaving this. I turn 40 May next year, so I'm 39. Don't let the hair deceive you, okay? That's 13 years of marriage and kids, that's what that is. Yeah, 39.
Due to the spaces that you have won for your wonderful job in your country, have you suggested that the education in university and college mostly change the minds from fixed minds to growth minds and change some regular education so we can think different? And I think in most of the world, the education is always fixed minds and no different open growth minds. So if we could make a little changes from your side due to your experience life, could be better because we know it's workable.
Yeah, and I think let me start by saying this is already happening here. I mean, I was blown away the first time Monica and Carolina really opened up UFM to me. When I saw UFM as a university, and I thought, this isn't something that you normally see. The way in which education is addressed, it's not controlled, it's the way it's addressed. You know, the fact that there is practical, there is theoretical, there is leadership, there is self-innovation, you know, the fact that, you know, there's a network that allows for experts to come in. Really, it's fluid education that I see here. And I don't say this just because I'm here. I've traveled all the world. I've worked with many institutions. The problem you have with education at the moment around the world is still very 18th century, which is blackboard book. And you listen to me because I know. I'm the rebel of that because I'm the kind of guy that says, do you know why? Do you want to know why I left university? I wanted to become a car designer. I went in to study aeronautical engineering and thermodynamics at university. I know it sounds great. I didn't even pass maths properly the first time, right? But I wanted to be a car designer. I went in, I sat down in the first lecture, okay? And I'm sitting kind of midway point. And, you know, the professor goes, has anyone got any questions? And I said, yeah, I've got one. And I go, have you ever designed a car? And he said, no. So I got up and I left. My mother goes to me, you know, apart from slapping me around the head, she goes, why did you leave? And I said, well, how can a man that's never designed a car teach me how to design a car? Does that make sense? Because that's the simple logic I had. Okay, there are a few things that build around it, but that's how straight my mind works. And what education has at the moment, it has a rigidity which is all about the curriculum. It's all about get people through the exams, get them to a point. Now remember, exams conform you because everyone has to study the same book, study the same question, study the same answer. Do you know what I like about what I see here is there are no questions, there are no answers. You create the questions and you respond with your own answers. And I think that kind of fluidity really helps people learn and adapt in different ways. So I want, and I've said this to Monica last time I want to use UFM as an example going out, that actually, do you know, this is what education should be like. When I started Enterprise Lab, I was thrown out of more institutions than I was accepted because they all thought that I'm trying to supersede them. Education is the framework to learning. Entrepreneurship is the framework to life. That's my mantra.
Yo quiero agregar ahí una respuesta importante. Thank you for all you have said. En realidad nosotros estamos completamente apasionados por el tema de educación y creo que respecto a Guatemala específicamente tenemos un reto y creo que cada uno de nosotros podemos llevar este tema de educación a otro nivel en donde ayudemos a los jóvenes a pensar en forma emprendedora mucho más temprano en sus vidas. Y hay algunos proyectos que estamos desarrollando en esa línea. Desarrollamos un libro justamente con el propósito de llegar a colegios, escuelas, institutos. Este año estamos corriendo 12 proyectos modelo en todo el país para poder llegar con este proceso. Pero al final, un país lleno de necesidades es un país lleno de oportunidades. El tema es si uno lo ve con ojos. Nosotros podemos compartir un poquito de esto que vamos aprendiendo a lo largo del camino y traer a personas como Kitan para poder compartir sus experiencias y multiplicar sus capacidades, porque sin duda tenemos aquí a gente con capacidades increíbles que quizás no podemos conocer en otra forma, pero al menos en estas pequeñas cápsulas de conocimiento. Sorry. It's your show, not mine, but I just wanted to share this. Pero, sí.
Antes que nada, muchas gracias, Kitan, por el mensaje que nos has traído. Siempre busca obtener una independencia financiera. Uno piensa primero en el dinero, pero en tu caso veo que también mezclaste la parte social, o sea, te interesaste por las personas. Pero, ¿en qué momento, digamos, pensaste en una independencia financiera y, digamos, en qué momento debe uno, digamos, sentir que ya tiene esa independencia?
Okay, it's a great question, and it's a very important one as well. Money should become the product, a byproduct of your efforts and your vision, not the purpose of it. If you set it up on the basis that or any idea which is just focused around the money and the finance, then it's always what you don't have and it's always what you need. Whereas when we talk about things like business validation, when we talk about the processes of how you actually take a product or a service out, it's all about the value that you provide first. Value is more valuable than money itself. It's immeasurable in what value can mean. You know, you could go to a company and say, how much would you value me if I could increase your your bottom end by 100 million? Is it worth 100 million? Is it worth more than 100 million? You can ask the question in that particular way. But what is the value to the person? What's the importance? What is it doing? Where is it going? I've always believed money is the secondary or the third thing that I will look at when I'm actually developing my product. If my product doesn't have the value, it's never going to sell. It's never going to make the money that I so desire it to do. So, in my world, it's what is your idea first? You know, what problem is it solving? How does it work? Who is it for? And then I need you to prove that it works. prove that your assumptions and your validations and your interviews, this is why they say, keep faking it until you make it. Just keep reiterating, keep testing until you get to that point where you can quite confidently prove that this is something that people will value. And I can tell you at this point, most people also understand or have heard the saying that customers don't know really what they want. There is a saying, there's an old saying for Henry Ford, the guy, founder of Ford Cars. He used to, he was once asked, what do customers want? And he said, if I asked customers what they wanted, they'd ask for faster horses. Okay? In today's environment, it's completely different. All of you as consumers know what you want, but you don't know what you need. And that's our responsibility as entrepreneurs and business owners, to actually give people what they need. And this is where you stop making customers and you start creating fans. And when you create fans in your business, they become ambassadorial automatically, and the money works itself out automatically. So I am not magnetized to any opportunity by the net gain of what invoice I can put into, or how much I can earn off it, what profit I'm going to make. I'm driven by the core cause of, can I achieve what the customer needs? And if I can, and only if I can, then I would entertain that as a customer. Don't go down the line of desperation for cash. Look at it as a situation of the cash is trying to desperately get into your account.
Yo quisiera hacer una pausa ahí, porque justo ahí es donde nosotros podemos notar la definición de emprendedor como nosotros lo comprendemos, ¿verdad? Un emprendedor es exitoso en la medida en que agregue valor a otros. Por eso es que cuando uno mira a un emprendedor que le está yendo muy bien y tiene mucho éxito económico y todo lo demás, eso es muestra que está sirviendo a alguien. Si no sirve a alguien, él no puede tener éxito. Y por eso es que es una definición tan importante, porque estas personas que son exitosas es porque han servido a otros. Ese es el único camino. Y yo solo quiero hacer una conexión con lo que Ketan nos acaba de presentar en su presentación o en su conferencia, el momento en donde realmente hubo un cambio, que fue cuando él dijo, dejé de pensar en mí y empecé a pensar en los demás. Y fue ahí donde realmente el cambio pasó. Y es que exactamente esa es la forma que lo necesita ver un emprendedor, cuando empieza a ver en otros esas necesidades que después él convierte en oportunidades y después convierte en modelos de negocio que pues son exitosos.
I just want to add something to that very quickly. I was in an innovation summit yesterday, and Google were speaking at this event. So it was the head of Latin America and for Google for Work, and he put up this slide about why Google do what they do, okay, and the way that they do it. And he put in, if users have a spelling error, it's our problem. If users have slow internet, it's our problem. If users can't find what they're looking for, it's our problem. And right at the bottom, after a list of all these our problems, he said, we look at the whole problem. Now, Google is Google at the end of the day, but what they do is they're not focused on how much money they make, they're focused on how many problems they solve. And the fact that they look at the whole problem rather than just, oh, that's nothing to do with me. So value before the cash will automatically flip itself around. As long as you focus on delivering value, you'll get the rewards that you so deserve.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Gideon, for your speech. So, also considering your approach of failure, I was thinking also that you were in MIT, that they have an entrepreneurship method that the entrepreneurs there in MIT, maybe they will fail, but if they do, they will take shorter time for starting again. So I want to know what you think about that kind of approach.
It's good because you don't spend time. You see what it is here is it's a difference between reaction response and a difference between reflection and judgment. Okay, so Sundar Pichai, who's the CEO of Google, once told the story about the cockroach theory. Now, I'm going to tell this story very, very quickly because I know we're running short and there's going to be other questions. But essentially, what it's talking about is he was sitting in a restaurant and 3 ladies came in. They started to have their lunch and a cockroach flew in and landed on one of the ladies' blouses. She looked down and she started shaking her hands, and in this frantic mode, in her franticness, she hit the cockroach, and it landed on her friend's shirt. And she did the same thing. She just frantically moved like this. And in that moment, the waiter comes running in to try and resolve the issue, and in her franticness, she hit the cockroach, and it landed on the waiter's shirt. But the waiter didn't move, not one bit. He stood there still, and he looked at the behavior, he watched and observed the behavior of the cockroach. And at such time that he could measure, map, and understand, he managed to grab the cockroach and take it out of the restaurant. Now, the moral of that story is whenever you're faced with any form of challenge, it comes with what we call noise around us. And that's the distraction that we have. We get distracted by the noise. And we end up reacting rather than responding. The true measure of this is what we're talking about here is why people and the culture that MIT build within this, where people will fail and then reiterate and start again, is that they're not given a chance to react. They're only given an opportunity to respond. And whatever you do here, it's always better to respond to a situation than react, because you create space. And that space of opportunity and space of thought allows you to uncover more and more new answers as you go along the way. So I absolutely endorse this whole thing of, didn't work, move to the next. Didn't work, move to the next. But don't do it as a point of reaction, you do it as a point of response.
I have a lot of questions that I can ask you.
I bet you do.
I will take advantage of this time. You said that you have this case of one company that was went to bankruptcy, but for you it was not a failure. Can you tell us a little bit more of that moment in your life? I mean, how this happened and how you overcome it.
Okay, so Youth Enterprise Live, which was the project that I talked about earlier today, we set up a media company to sit behind this. So it owns the rights to the show, and it was the company that was going to raise all the funding and then put the show together. So I went and found a co-director or co-founder from the industry who had a lot of experience putting on big events, and I said, you come on board and you work with me as well. I said, if you've put on shows with thousands of people attending, you must have the right experiences. So I took him on board, and then I took a young entrepreneur on to do graphics and design. And I was responsible for commercial and strategy. I was creating a lot of the relationships. I was doing all this kind of work. The event director, he was the event director. He was responsible for the whole building, the outlay and all this kind of stuff to go. We raised the money that we needed to get the show off the ground, but unbeknown to me, that my co-director had actually signed contracts in a way that he was still working in a very big organization. Mm-hmm. So he signed off saying, oh, we will pay everything in full before the event has happened, thinking that the event people won't take him seriously, because he didn't realize the relationship he had when he was in another organization is different to where he's got today. Now, I should have seen that as an oversight. The second thing that happened is after the first show was finished, I took the decision to step down as one of the directors of the company because there was a conflict of interest with another project, and I didn't actually announce this to my client roster and network. And within a short space of about 4 or 5 months, we went from being a company with almost 86,000 in cash in the bank to nearly 320,000 in debt. And what happened here, the learnings I had is when you resource and you entrust, don't just leave everything that you're doing to them and say, right, it's their job, they're going to be accountable. You've got to still have some reference points into where are things going wrong. Because I'm telling you, put yourself in my position. We'd worked all year to get to this point. We'd got the show. I've just done all the media interviews, national newspapers, national radio, TV's coming in the morning. My sponsors have been paying. 6 o'clock in the evening, I finished the interviews and I was going to the hotel. 8:30 at night, I get a call from the US. The company that represents the stands says, you haven't paid us your invoice. You owe us £30,000 and you have to pay that by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning or we don't switch the power on at your show. What would you do? I just want you to think about it very, very carefully. Do I start blaming people and say, why did you sign this? What did you do? I can't rewrite history. The show's got to go on, So I've got to find a way. I raised 24,000 through beg, borrow, and stealing. Okay, I didn't steal anything, honestly. But the failure point of this, what hurt me the most when I lost this business is it was 2 counts. Number one is I lost something that I really believed in. I really believed that the media company could have done great things in that sense. And the other bit was regret, which I don't do anymore. I regretted the fact that I made some choices without taking decisions. I just made a choice that this can all go to this person and they'll deal with it. And actually, it wasn't the right choice and I never took the decision. This is why I tell you today, you always have a choice, but it's all up to making a decision. So, cash is okay. At the end of the day, I lost £250,000, okay? But with the launch of from the Prime Minister, I've actually been able to make more money than £250,000. So, as one door closes, another one opens, but it's up to you how you see that. So for me, the fail points were mismanagement and miscommunications. It's not saying that I'll never do that again, but it's what I will learn from and make sure that I've handled first the next time round.
Muchas gracias. ¿Hay alguna pregunta más? Sí, y cerramos con ella.
Yes, first and foremost, thank you very much for this amazing speech. And you mentioned that you already had 2 successful companies that you sold, right? Was it hard to make the decision to get out of your comfort zone after you had 2 successful businesses and dive into a new thing? And what would be your best advice for someone to get out of their comfort zones?
Wow.
Can I just add a little bit more? And when is the specific moment to take the decision?
When is the specific moment to take the decision?
The decision to sell your company.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't really know. And I don't think anyone really knows. I think there's going to be a situation sometimes, like they see in the movie where they write a number on a piece of paper and you look and say, hell yeah, and then you go for it, maybe. I think that's the sort of the view of this point. I think for me, when is the right time to draw a line and say it's over is when you feel that you've done everything you possibly can in that business, where you've given all the value that you possibly could do. And this is a situation where you make a decision of who you're selling it to. There are 2 types of buyers out there. You've got people that will destroy the very company that you've made and make it into smaller chunks and profit, and you've got those that will mass accelerate it because of the person that they are. I chose to work it a different way. I wanted the mass value. I didn't want the brand to get lost. The company name had already gone. But those 300 self-employed professionals who are working with me now turned into almost 1,000 self-employed professionals. So I knew that this person had the pedigree to take it from A to B. So I suppose the first part of the answer to the first part of the question of, when did I think it was right? I never knew. I never knew it was right. It was when I got approached. That's when I even started thinking, do I need to sell this? I could look back and say, I should have kept hold of SmartGet because I could have been a multi-gazillionaire, but then I wouldn't be doing this at the end of the day. So we live and die by the choices we make in that respect. The second thing I say is then I need to reflect, who am I selling to and why do they want it?
Okay, money still didn't come into it. I didn't really know. I'm like, do I sit there and say, how do I value my company now? So I thought to myself, all right, how do I value this? Okay, we're worth 1.2 million on paper on contracts. I've got 300 of these guys. Do I do a multiplier? Do I put 10 million up there? I thought, no way, no one's going to go for 10 million with just paper-based. Plus, you're talking about contracts that could easily get swiped out. So I went the other way. I backed out. I said, make me an offer. And they make me an offer. I wasn't expecting the offer that came. So I said, okay, maybe this is the right time for me to let it go. When my mind, my gut, and my heart have kind of aligned, I think, I moved that company onto a great source. Now, let's flip that very quickly on the second exit, because the second exit wasn't a company exit, it was data. And actually, I think in hindsight for me, when I sold that company, I sold it too prematurely. I could have done a lot more with it. But essentially, I just thought, again, maybe this is the right time because someone's approaching me and saying they want to make an offer, that this is the way to do it. I didn't know what the rules were about buying and selling companies. I just thought, okay, if someone's shown interest, let's go down that line. And just, very quickly on the comfort zone thing, how do you get yourself out of your comfort zone?
Just do it.
It's pretty much it. Stop procrastinating about it. Don't talk about getting yourself out of the comfort zone. Just go and do it. It's, the pain, panic, fear factors that I talk about are these very things that stop you from doing that. They're all temporary measures that you have in your head. My kind of advice to anyone is it takes the same amount of energy to talk yourself out as it does to talk yourself in. So you might as well talk yourself in.
Muy especial a Ketan por esta magnífica conferencia, presentación. Creo que otra vez esto nos invita a que cada uno de nosotros nos cuestionemos sobre las elecciones que hacemos todos los días. Y no son esas grandes elecciones del día que me vengan a ofrecer 10 millones de dólares por mi compañía, son las elecciones pequeñas, ¿verdad?, que convierten un pensamiento en una acción. What am I saying? Que convierten un pensamiento en una acción. Y yo creo que muchísimas veces dejamos ir oportunidades de actuar por pensar demasiado y creo que la invitación siempre abierta a inspirarse continuamente por actuar y pues hacer la diferencia en el círculo que tenemos cerca. Muchas gracias, Ketan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this as well. So I've got one thing I want to do. I want you guys back down there as well, very, very quickly. It's something that I do all the time wherever I'm on stage and talk. Get back down. Come on. Get down.
Oh, the picture.
Get down. Right. So I have a habit, I have a ritual that anywhere I go and talk on stage and I have wonderful audiences like yourselves, basically, is I do a video selfie and then I post this, okay? So what we do is I'm going to turn my back to you because that's the only way I can take a selfie, okay? So it's going to look like I'm talking to the wall. I don't want anyone to laugh. Ladies, don't look at my bum, please, okay? It's not for sale, unfortunately. But this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put a quick live message out. I'm going to say the words, take it away. And you guys are going to say, First Tuesday rocks. Okay? So we're going to practice this. I'm going to say, hi, I'm Cómo, blah, 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 blah. I'm in Guatemala. I'm doing this. The people of Guatemala have something to say to you. And you're going to say, First Tuesday rocks. And then you're going to go, woo, right? So let's practice that bit. Take it away. Okay, we've got an edit. UFM, First Guatemala, First Tuesday. Okay? So we're going to do First Tuesday, Guatemala rocks. All right, let's practice that quickly. Blah, 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 my name's Kevin McCarter, blah, blah, blah. Take it away. First Tuesday, Guatemala rocks. Don't forget the woo. You're going to do that. You're going to do all the shaking around. Okay. You think you guys are ready for this? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. You don't want to practice it one more time? All right. No looking at the bum. Okay. Shh. Hi everyone, it's Ket McConnell here from Enterprise Lab. I'm at UFM in Guatemala at the first Tuesday event. The people of Guatemala have something to say to you. Take it away! That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations, well done.
Ketan, we always finish this with rifando, I don't know how you say that, getting away a book that is named The First Mile. Can you tell us a number from 1 to 173? Un número del 1 al 173. Ups. Ay, no. Eso sí nos va a salir caro.
Okay. Seeing as someone asked my age, let's go for page 77.
77.
José Amílcar Azañone. Catalán.
Ah, ahí está, un aplauso fuerte pues. Can you give it to him?
Absolutely. Congratulations, welcome. Thank you. All the best.
Bueno, acompañarnos, así que esperemos que disfruten el cóctel. Recuerden hacer muchas relaciones interpersonales ahí en el cóctel, conocer gente, hablar de su idea de negocios y moverse afuera de su comfort zone. Thank you, Ketan.
Thank you.